Welcome back to Bookish Dives. Glad you could join us again. We've looked at a couple of really thought-provoking books before, and today we're diving into something truly unique. A classic, really, but one that flips perspective right on its head.
Absolutely. A fascinating look at, human nature, spiritual struggle, but seen from the other side.
Exactly. We're opening up C.S. Lewis's, well, frankly, brilliant and pretty unsettling work, The Screwtape Letters. And we're also touching on the essay that often comes with it, Screwtape Proposes a Toast.
Right.
And the core idea, for anyone new to it, isn't your standard story. It's actually a collection of letters, confidential letters from a, let's say, senior demon, Screwtape, to his nephew, Wormwood, who's basically a junior tempter, an intern devil, trying to secure the damnation of a human, his patient.
Yeah, and Lewis, he sets this up so carefully right from the start. There's the dedication to Tolkien, of course, but also quotes from Luther and Thomas More.
About the devil-hating scorn.
Exactly. It immediately throws you into this idea of spiritual warfare, but it's all strategy, seen from the enemy's planning room. And Lewis himself, in his preface, gives this really important warning. He doesn't explain how he got the letters, which is intriguing in itself, but he warns us readers about two big mistakes you can make about devils.
Okay.
First, just flat-out disbelief that they exist. And second, the opposite, an unhealthy, obsessive interest in them. Lewis says both errors delight the devils just as much.
Interesting. So avoid both extremes.
Right. And crucially, he reminds us the devil's a liar.
Yeah.
So even from Screwtape's own perspective, you can't take everything he says as, the absolute truth of how hell sees things. He might be lying even to Wormwood.
Good point. So our goal here in this deep dive isn't to, wallow in the demonic view.
No, not at all. It's to unpack these strategies, these diabolical insights, precisely because they offer such surprising, sometimes uncomfortable truths about our own lives or vulnerabilities. Seeing ourselves from hell's point of view, paradoxically, can be illuminating.
Okay, I'm ready. Where do we start? The first thing that always gets me is Screwtape's tone. This kind of creepy, affectionate uncle thing he has going on.
It really is something, isn't it? Initially, it's almost darkly funny, but you slowly see the malice underneath, especially in how he treats poor Wormwood later on. It's a masterclass in perspective.
It definitely draws you in.
And it immediately shows you hell's main tactic, really. It's not about pitchforks and fire, not primarily anyway. It's about subtle misdirection. It's about twisting reality.
So let's brute force more psychological warfare.
Precisely. Take the very first letter. Screwtape tells Wormwood, don't bother arguing with the human about materialism or things like that.
Why not? Seems like a prime target.
Because, Screwtape observes, modern humans often don't care if something is logically true or false. They care if it sounds strong or contemporary or ruthless.
Ouch.
Yeah. So hell's best friend isn't a good argument. It's jargon. It's trendy language. It's anything that fuddles the human mind, makes them accept things based on how they're packaged, not what they actually contain.
That sounds disturbingly familiar, like how easily we get swept up in buzzwords or ideologies without really examining them.
Exactly. And it extends to just, everyday perception. Screwtape instructs Wormwood to keep the patient focused entirely on the stream of immediate sense experiences.
Like what?
The bus going by, the newsboy shouting, what Screwtape calls real life. The goal is to prevent any deeper thought, any reflection on unseen things.
So keep them glued to the surface.
Yes. He even warns against real science, because it might make people think about invisible forces or underlying structures. He prefers things like economics or sociology, not because they're bad, but because they feel more connected to that immediate, tangible, real life.
Wow. So the strategy is basically keep them busy, keep them distracted by the mundane so they never ask the big questions.
That's a huge part of it. And this ties into another concept Lewis calls the historical point of view.
Okay, what's that?
Screwtape loves this. He says hell encourages an intellectual climate where, when smart people encounter old books, old wisdom, they never ask the simple question, is this true?
What did they ask instead?
Oh, what were the author's influences? Is it consistent with other works of its period? What phase of history does it represent? What do current critics say? All valid questions in context, but
they avoid the main point.
Exactly. According to Screwtape, it effectively cuts every generation off from all others. It prevents us from learning from the past, from having our errors corrected by timeless truths. We just analyze the context, not the content's claim to truth.
So it's not just about what we believe, but fundamentally how we even approach knowledge and history, making sure we stay shallow.
That seems to be the idea. Distract from fundamental truth, make us suspicious of anything that claims to be lasting wisdom.
Yeah.
Now, beyond that sort of intellectual fog,
Yeah.
Screwtape gets really specific about exploiting our basic human condition, our weaknesses, our emotions, our habits,
Yeah.
even our attempts to be good.
Okay, this is where it gets really personal, I imagine. How do they target our inner lives?
Well, a really key idea Lewis brings in is what Screwtape calls the law of undulation.
Undulation, like waves.
Exactly. Screwtape observes that human spiritual and emotional life isn't flat. It has peaks, times of energy, connection, joy, and troughs, periods of dullness, dryness, spiritual fatigue.
That sounds pretty normal, actually.
It is normal, but hell's strategy is to make sure the human doesn't realize it's normal. So when the patient hits a trough, a dry spell,
They think something's gone wrong, they're failing.
precisely, they despair. And those troughs, Screwtape says, are prime opportunities. Resistance is low. That's when sensual temptations, maybe sex, maybe just comfort eating or drinking, are most effective. They offer a quick fix for the emptiness.
Leading to that ever-increasing craving for an ever-diminishing pleasure he talks about.
You got it. And this ties into another chilling point Lewis makes through Screwtape, letter 12, I think.
Which is,
The safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts.
wow, no big dramatic fall, just a slow drift.
Exactly. Screwtape emphasizes that lots of small sins, habits of neglect, tiny compromises are just as effective, maybe more effective, than some spectacular act of wickedness. He'd rather the patient just waste time, do nothing significant, drift along bored, than actually do something, even something wrong that might lead to repentance.
That's profoundly unsettling. That quiet, passive choices, just letting things slide, can be the most dangerous path.
It really is. And they even twist virtues. Take humility.
How can you twist humility?
Well, if the patient actually starts becoming genuinely humble, Screwtape says the tactic is simple. Make him proud of his humility.
The classic spiritual pride trap.
Right. Make him think humility is about having a low opinion of his own talents, which often leads to dishonesty or false modesty, and keep his mind constantly turning inwards on himself and his state of humility. Instead of what Lewis suggests is the real goal, self-forgetfulness. Looking outward in gratitude towards the Creator and creation, not constantly examining your own navel, even if you're examining how humble it is.
That makes sense. It's about focus. Outward versus inward.
Exactly. And another inward trap they exploit is our relationship with time, specifically the future.
How so?
Screwtape loves getting humans hag-ridden by the future, as he puts it, pulled away from the present moment, which Lewis implies is the only place we can actually act, choose, experience reality.
So, constantly anxious about what might happen, or maybe dreaming about some perfect future.
Both. Endless anxiety about tomorrow, or chasing some rainbow's end that never arrives. Either way, Screwtape says, it stops people from being honest, nor kind, nor happy now. They're always living mentally somewhere else.
That hits hard. I think we all feel that pull away from the present sometimes. Okay, so they mess with our minds, our view of time, our virtues. What about our relationships? Surely that's a key battleground.
Oh, absolutely. Lewis is devastatingly perceptive here. Think about the church itself.
Okay.
When the patient first converts, Screwtape is actually delighted, because he sees the visible church, the human institution, as an unwitting ally for hell.
Pow.
The patient goes in expecting some ethereal spiritual experience, right? But what does he find? Maybe, as Lewis writes, a sham Gothic erection for a building, an oily grocer passing the collection plate, neighbors with annoying habits like squeaky boots.
Yes, I remember the squeaky boots.
Screwtape tells Wormwood, focus on those things. Amplify the disappointment with the mundane, the imperfect reality of church life, to choke off the patient's budding faith before it takes root.
Using the gritty reality to kill the ideal, that's cynical but effective.
Very. And it gets even closer to home. Letter 3 is all about fomenting daily pinpricks between the patient and his mother.
Simple domestic friction.
But weaponized. Tactics include keeping the patient absorbed in his own advanced and spiritual duties, so he neglects basic kindness to his mother, encouraging him to pray for her soul, but in a way that really just focuses on all the habits of hers that annoy him.
Ouch. Been there, maybe.
And fostering a double standard. The patient expects his own words to be taken at face value, perfectly reasonably. But her words, they must be analyzed for tone, hidden meanings, suspected intentions.
That double standard, yeah, that's painfully common. Judging others harshly while giving ourselves a pass.
It's classic self-centeredness disguised sometimes as piety. And speaking of prayer, that gets targeted too.
How?
Screwtape advises keeping the patient away from serious, focused prayer. Encourage instead a vague, spontaneous, inward, informal mood. Make prayer about generating a nice feeling inside himself, rather than actually trying to connect with, well, what Screwtape calls the enemy. And crucially, try to get the patient praying not to God as he actually is, but to what Screwtape calls the composite object.
Composite object.
Basically, an image of God the patient has constructed in his own head. A comfortable, manageable God made in the patient's own image who wouldn't demand too much or challenge his biases. Praying to your own invention, essentially.
So if prayer is just talking to yourself, it's safe for hell anyway.
Exactly. No real encounter, no transformation possible. And this theme of twisting good things continues into love and marriage.
Right. Letters 18 and 19. What's the strategy there?
Hell pushes the idea that being in love, that intense, exciting, often temporary feeling, is the only valid reason for marriage. And more importantly, if that feeling fades, the marriage itself is basically over, the commitment void.
Which ignores the idea of love as a choice, a commitment beyond feelings.
Precisely. It completely undermines it. And Screwtape reveals Hell's fundamental philosophy here. For them to be means to be in competition. Everything is a rivalry, a struggle for dominance or resources.
Compared to
what Screwtape calls the enemy's impossible idea of love, where the good of oneself is the good of another. A union, not a competition. Hell literally can't comprehend it.
viewing relationships as fundamentally competitive versus collaborative, that's a stark contrast. It really makes you think about how we approach relationships, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And this competitive, consuming view even extends to sexual attraction, where Screwtape talks about guiding men towards an infernal Venus, a type desired brutally, leading to unhappiness even if marriage results. But this all builds towards the bigger picture, and Screwtape proposes a toast.
Right, the essay at the end, where Screwtape is giving an after-dinner speech to young devils.
Exactly. And he's kind of complaining. He laments the poor quality of souls they're getting these days.
Poor quality?
Yeah, compared to the great sinners of the past, like Henry VIII, who apparently offered delicious resistance. Today's catches, he says, are mostly insipid, petty, lukewarm. Not much substance to them.
So what's Hell's grand strategy that led to this, in his view?
This is where Lewis delivers a really potent and maybe controversial critique through Screwtape. The strategy is the subtle perversion of concepts like liberty and equality into this insidious, corrosive belief, I'm as good as you.
Okay, I'm as good as you. How is that Hell's strategy?
Screwtape explains it's not about genuine equality of worth. It's a lie fueled by resentment. It's the feeling of the person who knows they aren't as good, maybe not as smart or skilled or virtuous, demanding that all distinctions be flattened. And when this feeling gets blessed by the word democracy, used almost like an incantation,
Then what happens?
it leads, Screwtape boasts, to the discrediting and finally the elimination of every kind of human excellence, moral, cultural, social, or intellectual.
Wow. So it's a push towards mediocrity, a leveling down, disguised as fairness. That's chillingly resonant with some modern debates about standards and achievement.
It is. Lewis, through Screwtape, suggests it undermines real education, fosters resentment of anyone who excels, and ultimately creates a society of easily manipulated subliterates and ciphers.
A bleak picture.
Very. But even with this focus on mass movements and societal trends, Screwtape brings it back. He emphasizes Hell's ultimate goal is always the destruction of individuals.
Because only individuals can be saved or damned.
Exactly. Society, trends, ideologies, they're just tools to harvest individual souls. And he ends his toast in this incredibly vivid, grotesque way.
The wine.
The wine. He invites the young devils to drink a sound old vintage Pharisee. Apparently, it's made from different kinds of Pharisees who hated each other on earth but are now conjoined but not reconciled in hell. Their endless, festering spite somehow passes into the drink.
Grrr. That's graphic.
And his final point is that hell loves religion, or at least what most humans mean by religion, because it's fertile ground for the truly delicious sins: hypocrisy, pride, judgment. He says, the fine flower of unholiness can grow only in the close neighborhood of the holy.
What a final line. So being religious doesn't make you safe, it just raises the stakes.
These to be the warning.
Okay. What a journey through Screwtape's twisted logic. C.S. Lewis really does give us this incredible, if uncomfortable, insight through this inverted lens. It's not always the big, dramatic temptations, is it? It's the small shifts.
Tiny shifts in perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
Subtle changes in how we value things, what we pay attention to, even how we use words.
So much of it seems to come down to distraction.
Distraction from truth, definitely. Fostering a distorted view of ourselves, God, the world around us, twisting good things like humility or love or even the church into traps. The real aha moment, I think, is just how much of our own inner struggles, our blind spots, our societal weirdness even, starts to make a strange kind of sense when you see it from the perspective of an enemy who knows how to exploit our weaknesses.
It's like holding up a dark mirror. So, for you listening, what does this all mean? How could recognizing some of these tactics, the appeal to jargon over truth, the danger of the gradual slope, the twisting of humility, the focus on future anxiety, how could seeing them laid out actually help you navigate your own life?
Maybe it's about catching those subtle whispers of distraction, or questioning that pull towards just superficiality, or noticing when you're applying that double standard in relationships.
Yeah, maybe just being a little more aware of the undercurrents. Well, we really hope this bookish dive has given you some fresh perspectives, maybe some things to chew on from the Screwtape Letters.
Hope so.
If you enjoyed digging into this with us, please do follow Bookish Dives wherever you get your podcasts. We've got more explorations of fascinating books coming up.
Looking forward to it.
Until next time, keep reading, keep thinking, and try to stay well informed.